All right. Well, barrel or nah, cracking your knuckles in public.
I'm gonna go. This is a good one. Oh, coughing in public is a definite barrel. The I'm gonna say no. The act in and of itself, is that yours or mine? That's mine, isn't it?
What?
The ding on the computer, but I silenced my stupid
I
thing.
didn't. I didn't even hear it.
Okay, great. The act in and of itself is neither here nor there. Crack your knuckles, don't crack your knuckles, right? We're not talking about that. We're doing it in public. If you're cracking them in public, that's fine as long as nobody knows. The person who makes a presentation of cracking their knuckles, both auditorially and visually, who like really makes the
Yeah.
production of it, is super duper annoying. Like you can crack your knuckles quietly if you need to, or don't.
There is
But
no quiet though. Like that's the thing is some people I've developed a habit for doing it. I don't know at what point, but I'm aware that there's people who it's like nails on a chalkboard for them. For whatever reason, it triggers them. Some people are indifferent to the sound of it, but there's certain people in our society who are repulsed by it. And so even though I want to do it, I know in a public environment, it's just it's frowned upon, you know?
and as it should be, I suppose, no matter what, yeah, I'm gonna say no barrel. If you don't have enough self-control, if you're like a have a nervous tick of cracking your knuckles, then you just work on developing some self-control. Wait, go to the bathroom, do it, I guess. Like any kind of nervous or any kind of tick that you just can't stop
Yeah.
should be kind of ironed out.
So it is a tick. I think that is what it is because it isn't like even when I think about doing it, if I feel an urge to do it and I don't do it, it's not as if my hand seize up. You know, it's not like
No.
I physically need to do it. It's just it's a mental and there is a little bit of a relief or whatever that like it feels arthritic if I don't do it. And then if I do it, there is a little bit of a relief, but I can live without it is the point. I can go without doing the tick and it's something that cuts through the room. Even if you're not repulsed by it, you still notice it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's one of those things like don't talk on the phone in public, don't belch in public, don't audibly fart in public.
Don't pop gum bubbles in public.
Yeah, it just cuts through the room
Yeah.
and imposes on everybody's privacy. So
Great. I'm with you. No barrel.
no barrel on cracking your knuckles. Barrel or not, role play in the bedroom.
Ooh, David Lee Scales. I'm gonna go no barrel for me and mine, or just me, I guess. But I could never get. I mean, again, and I feel this is a common theme for us here on the show, which is no need, or there's rarely a need to gild the lily. Bedroom is great enough in and of itself, right? I think, or and hopefully it is for everybody. But to add the spice, quote unquote, as they say, to what play like teacher student or like it just seems like you're taking something that's already good and then I don't know, I guess it doesn't seem necessary to me. Like, and to get out of, and maybe people like it because you're getting out of your head, but to to play act in such a way, it would be really hard not to be self-aware while you're doing it. Like, oh man, look at me. I'm playing naughty schoolboy.
Turtles.
Yeah.
Furries, you know, like that's a thing. I never heard
I
the turtle
know.
version, but furries is a thing. Yeah, I agree with you entirely. I think it's the opposite of the direction you want to go in the bedroom, and that's why it's no barrel for me. I think pure ecstasy in the bedroom in its finest form is fully being tapped into. Maybe it's your raw animalistic urges, you know, like the most raw version of what humans desire or need or whatever physiology wants just organically. Tapping into that is tapping into your deepest oneself. putting on a facade and trying to be something else is the exact opposite. And so it could be that that fantasy exists somewhere in your brain and that's what you're chasing because you think it feels good, but it's still a veil over your truest self. So I think it's just wrong off from the kind of get go, wrong from the impetus. And
Yeah.
I think where there might be a mistake is like people think, oh, tapping into that raw animalistic thing is a version of myself, where there's these other fantasies I've had that are versions of myself. And I want to tickle that fancy and try it out. And it might actually feel good and service you kind of in a certain way, but it'll still be a lesser version than of you being your fullest self. So engage in yourself, in your fullest version of yourself. And it's easy to shy away from, or you have insecurities that you try to get away from or whatever. And it's like, no, that is the way. I think that's where you want to go.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, obviously, caveat, Kelly in that turtle shell, it's it does seem like that might be work for him and his is
Yeah.
to both do turtle shells. And because it does seem like that is part of Kelly's true self.
It, I guess it's revealed to have been. Yeah. Whatever works for you, I suppose. I shouldn't kink shame anybody in their turtle shell, but I don't know. In theory, I think that it may become problematic and might spin off into a direction that becomes unwieldy.
I agree.
Barrel or Nah comes straight from a Beach Grit headline. Surf dilemma. When a leashless longboard is careening towards the rocks, do you save it or sit and watch the end of its life? Question mark, not exclamation
Question
point.
mark. It was a surf dilemma that I experienced as aforementioned at the beginning of the show. Yeah, I really was a dilemma to me at the time, which
Well,
was
it's also a dilemma if you're in the water. Like you're watching it from the beach, but I've been in this exact dilemma in the water.
should I paddle and go get it?
I'm paddling out. That guy lost his leash. It's within my paddling distance where I could just grab it for him, push it out to him, swim it out to him, or let the thing go. And if there's rocks on the beach, it's even a greater dilemma for me.
I mean, completely. So I was sitting at the top of the bluff, as stated, sick as a dog. I had shoes on and whatnot. Then scrambling down. So I saw this thing coming. I thought at first it wasn't going to make it all the way to the rocks. I thought, okay, it popped out the back. He's going to get it. He didn't. Another wave came. And then I saw it was really making its way toward the rock. So I half stood up and thought, this is just, I don't have the energy and whatever. But then I also thought, look, this guy paddled out without a leash, right? Like if you're going to paddle out without a leash, but still, like to be, well, you take your medicine, man. Like I've never been that kind of guy either of like, you made a choice, you live by your choice. Like that's not my real, MO either of like, yeah, people make mistakes all the time, right? Like, and just because somebody did something doesn't mean they deserve all the wrath and, I mean, certain things, yes. Like if you were at Epstein Island, getting with a bunch of underage girls, then yes, you deserve to be publicly dragged and sent to jail. Great. But most things that people say, well, you made a decision, you live with that decision, are, come on, man, give some grace to somebody. So the wrestling of, do I show this guy grace? What do I do? And I was too sick to even do anything. So I sat, but I gotta say, it was both enjoy that I've never seen a board. You think this board is going to hit the rocks, and then oftentimes like a board will come in, and the way that the current takes it or whatever, it'll like graze maybe and end up on the beach or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This thing hit the rocks so hard, like it came like bounding through. And this is when I thought about it later. I felt, okay, this did serve you right, because his board went rolling initially through the lineup, right? Like
Mm.
sideway roll. I mean, if people were paddling out there, that thing was a direct hazard, which is pretty lame. So it hit the rocks full roll right on the deck, just
Oof.
bam, like so loud. It got sucked out. Another wave, bam. There was like 3 or 4 smashes. And then a big surge came and pushed it up onto the rocks. And I said, okay, this thing now is safe, right? Like, I mean, it took 4 solid hits, but it's safe. Nope. Water sucked it back off,
Oh my God.
smashed it another 4 times, brought it back up, drug it back off, smash, like, and it took the guy, he was well out, and so it took him like 5 minutes to get in. So I was just
Yikes.
watching this thing smash. It didn't move from those boulders. It didn't like get pushed out. The beating did not end until the guy came and got his board. And, and then he, yeah, he paddled back out without even looking at the damage smartly.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I mean the thing was had to have been destroyed. I mean it was an
Yeah,
older
but now it's
board.
gonna soak up water.
Yeah, I mean it was done. It was done after that beating. It was properly trashed. Uh, but yeah, it is a dilemma because I don't want to be, again, as stated, I don't want to be the guy who's like told you, but also, excuse me, man, this is going to be a hard listen for people. Uh, Watching it roll through the lineup, I'm gonna say that served him right. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you
The
if
hazard he
you
caused.
if you endanger others, then your thing gets endangered.
Yeah,
And that's what, because your board could have very easily hit somebody duck diving out the back. Like, it was kind of I mean, it was that perfect day, but it was still, there was enough size where somebody, you wouldn't, the board was traveling fast enough when it was coming in that if, you would just come up from a duck dive and saw it, you wouldn't necessarily been able to get quickly out of its way. You would have
right.
to do a duck dive under it or something. It could have definitely taken somebody's head off. And so if that would have happened, you know, whatever. But so all this made me think a lot, a lot, a lot. And I'm of the mind in general, it is no barrel to help somebody else out with their board. Unless, caveat, leash snap. If a leash has snapped, then by all means, help however you can.
Well, I'm gonna leave it with you on that one. I have more to say, but I am writhing in my seat because I'm gonna pee my pants. After a 2-hour show, I feel like I could do 30 minutes on this